The observation deck of the sanctuary station hummed with the quiet efficiency of automated systems, but Kaya stood motionless at the viewport, her breath fogging the reinforced glass. Below, in the sprawling biodome that stretched across 3 kilometers of artificial habitat, a scene of ecological collapse played out in slow motion. The Velcrin cub's apex predators from the dying world of Thesser 9 huddled, together in the shade of synthetic rock formations. Their sleek obsidian fur rippled with bioluminescent patterns that should have been camouflage for nighttime hunts. Instead, the patterns flickered erratically, a visual manifestation of their confusion and fear. "They're starving themselves," Dr. Chun's voice crackled through Kaya's earpiece. "The automated feeders are full, but they won't touch processed meat. Their instincts are telling them it's not real prey." Kaya watched as the smallest cub, Orin, she'd named him, separated from his siblings. His movements were hesitant, lacking the fluid grace that centuries of evolution had bred into his species. He approached a mechanical feeder, sniffed it, then retreated with a low whine that made Kaya's chest tighten. "How long?" she asked quietly. 72 hours since their last meal. Maybe less for the younger ones. 72 hours. The Galactic Conservation Corps had protocols for situations like this: observe, document, let nature take its course. Interference with rescued species was forbidden. The galaxy had learned that lesson the hard way when the Anthri had tried to improve the Kelver pack hunters, creating an invasive nightmare that took 3 centuries to contain. But Kaya was human, and humans had a different relationship with protocols. She sealed her environmental suit and headed for the airlock. The biodome's artificial atmosphere carried the scent of engineered grasslands and recycled water. Kaya moved slowly, keeping her profile low as she'd learned during her years studying Earth's rewilded wolf populations. The Velcrin were distant cousins to wolves, at least in ecological niche, if not in biology, and some instincts translated across the stars. Orin noticed her first. His head snapped up, luminescent markings flaring bright amber, the color of alarm. The other cubs scattered, but Orin held his ground, too exhausted or too curious to run. "Hey, little hunter," Kaya murmured, crouching 3 meters away. She opened her pack slowly, deliberately, letting him see every movement. Inside were fresh samples from the station's livestock bay, not processed meat, but actual prey animals, already deceased but still warm. Orin's nostrils flared. His ears, delicate and feathered with sensory cilia, swiveled forward. Kaya tossed a small carcass midway between them. It landed with a soft thump, blood still pooling around the wound she'd carefully inflicted to mimic a kill. Orin's entire body went rigid, every instinct warring with weeks of learned helplessness from the automated systems. "It's real," Kaya whispered. "You remember how? Your ancestors knew. It's in you, for a heartbeat. Nothing happened." Then Orin moved. It wasn't graceful. His pounce was clumsy, mistimed. But his teeth found the carcass's throat, and when the meat tore, something ancient flickered in his eyes, recognition deeper than memory. He fed. Over the following weeks, Kaya became a ghost in the biodome. She learned the cubs' patterns, their hierarchies, their fears. She learned that Orin was bold but inexperienced, that his sister Vess was calculating and patient, that the eldest male Kryn was struggling with an injured paw that made him snap at the others. The Conservation Corps sent warnings. Director Tavash, a Centauran whose species had watched 3 civilizations rise and fall, personally called her into his office. "You violate every protocol," he said, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence, a gesture of profound disappointment. "The cubs must adapt naturally, or the rescue is meaningless." "They're dying naturally," Kaya countered. "Your protocols don't account for trauma. These cubs watched their world burn. They watched their parents torn apart by habitat collapse. You can't just throw them in a paradise and expect instinct to override that. And you believe you can? I believe humans figured out how to rewild wolves after they nearly went extinct on Earth. We made mistakes, but we learned. Let me try." Tavash's mandibles clicked frustration or admiration. Kaya couldn't tell. 7 days. Then the board reviews your methods. 7 days became a masterclass in predatory education. Kaya didn't just feed the cubs. She taught them to hunt. She started with movement. Using drones equipped with simulated prey behavior, she got the cubs chasing again. Orin threw himself at the challenges with reckless enthusiasm, learning through failure. When he missed time to jump and crashed nose first into a boulder, Kaya resisted every urge to comfort him. Instead, she watched as clever Vess approached her brother and demonstrated a different angle of attack. They were learning from each other again. Pack behavior reawakening. Next came strategy. Kaya introduced live prey, small, non-sentient creatures bred for this purpose. The first attempts were chaos. The cubs scattered their quarry, attacked from wrong angles, exhausted themselves chasing shadows. But on the fourth day, Arin led his first coordinated hunt. Kaya watched from a blind as he positioned himself downwind, as Vess and Kryn flanked from the sides, as the youngest cubs drove the prey forward. It wasn't perfect. Kryn's injured paw made him slow, but when Orin's jaws closed around the fleeing creature's spine, the biodome echoed with triumphant howls that made Kaya's eyes burn. Director Tavash arrived on the 7th day with the full board representatives from 15 species, each carrying millennia of conservation philosophy. They stood at the observation deck, watching as the Velkryn cubs executed a hunt with precision that would have made their ancestors proud. Orin led the charge, his bioluminescent patterns flickering in complex sequences that Kaya now recognized as communication. Vess cut left, anticipating the prey's escape route. Even Kryn, paw still healing, found his place in the formation. The kill was clean, the feeding was orderly. And when it was done, Orin lifted his blood-stained muzzle and looked directly at the observation deck, at Kaya with eyes that held something beyond animal intelligence. Gratitude? Understanding? Perhaps just acknowledgement that this strange, soft creature had given him back what he'd lost. Unprecedented, murmured the Anthony delegate, their translator struggling with the emotion in their voice. Tavash's eyes blinked in slow succession. Dr. Chun, update the Velkryn rehabilitation protocol. Human intervention methods to be studied and, if appropriate, adapted for other traumatized species. Kaya pressed her hand against the viewport. Below, Orin returned to his pack, and for the first time since arriving at the station, the cubs moved like the predators they were born to be. We don't just conserve species, Kaya said softly. We heal them. That's what humans do. We remember what it's like to be broken, and we help others find their way back. In the biodome, under artificial stars, the Velkryn cubs began to teach the younger generation what Kaya had taught them. The cycle continued, instinct rekindled, survival assured. And somewhere in the quantum-encoded databanks of the Galactic Conservation Corps, a new file opened. Human Intervention Protocols Case Study. Kaya and Orin. The galaxy was watching. And it was learning.